Holacracy is an alternative. Years of experimentation, what we found was we need the things a management hierarchy provides, but we don't necessarily need that way of getting them. We need alignment, of course. We need work breakdown. We need accountability. Right? We need these things. We even need some measure of control. But management hierarchy is not the only way of getting there. There are other ways. And Holacracy is a framework for getting to those things without the same top-down command hierarchy and without the same limits. Hello, I'm Robertson, the founder of Holacracy, and I'm here to introduce you to a new kind of technology. I think when we think about technology for human flourishing, it's so common to think of the hard technologies, the physical technologies, software, the internet, computers, and I think we often don't pay attention to something far subtler yet more profound in our human experience, the social technologies. The kinds of things that define how we humans work together and live together and operate together. And those evolve just as much as the physical technologies do and are often fundamental in changing our human societies, our world. And Holacracy is one social technology that's transforming the way people work together. I want to talk about the social technology of how we control flow of traffic. This is a different paradigm. Traffic circles, much more common in Europe, and it took me a while to get used to them when I was driving there. On the right, the traffic circle, right? A different way of controlling flow of traffic in a city. And these two are more than just, different approaches for the same thing. They are that, but they come from a really different paradigm of control. On the left, the traffic light invites us to give up our autonomy. It invites us to sit back and be told what to do by an external authority. The traffic circle, not at all. It requires a lot more of you, the driver. But we've seen a lot of studies now of these two, and the studies consistently show one of these is far more effective at number of cars through in a given time, and that's the traffic circle. It's far more effective. It lets more traffic through in a given time. But another set of studies has looked at safety, right? And actually the traffic circle also wins here. It's just all around more effective. There's less accidents per car and more cars per minute of time going through this control mechanism. It works better, but it requires so much more, right, of the driver. You're not on the left in the traffic light. You don't have to lead. You just get to give up your autonomy. You get to wait and be told when to stop and when to go. Some external authority directs the action. But in a traffic circle, you have to stay present. You have to stay conscious. You have to attune to your surroundings. You have to coordinate in real time with all these other drivers as they're doing the same thing. Each of you is leading your part in a complex system, in real time coordinating with everyone else. It's far more challenging. In a way, it's more chaotic, and yet it works better, all around better. Now, which of these two control paradigms looks more like the modern corporation? Right? I think it's far more the one on the left. Right? This is what I was trying to move away from as I was building a new paradigm, as I was looking for a different way to control in a company. I wanted something that empowered everyone to lead. It might be harder on people. It might require more from people. But I learned to drive in a traffic circle. I found that you can step up, you can figure it out. And I believed the same was true in our organizations. I believed that people, given the right framework, more often than not, would step up and figure out how to own and use more real power. How do we do that in a company? And what I found at the root of what I didn't want was the management hierarchy. Right? This is the way we're used to organizing companies. This is the way we've been doing it for quite some time. And it worked great in the era in which it was invented. It started in the industrial age, it matured up in the 1800s, and in the kind of companies and challenges we faced then, it was a beautiful solution. right? We needed less deviation. We didn't need creativity. We didn't need adaptability. We didn't need to embrace change. We needed to control for change. That was the environment we had when this matured up, but that's not today's environment. Right? Today, we have environments where we need much more than standardization and control. We need creativity and adaptability. And we have people within these systems that want their passion used, that want to use their talents, use their creativity. In fact, I think in so many ways, management hierarchy is crushing the spirit out of people. It's crushing our innovation. It's crushing our desire to step up and lead. My favorite example of an organization is the human body. Right? We have trillions of cells working together collaboratively, right? In alignment. And yet there's no CEO cell telling the others what to do. There's no management hierarchy, no command hierarchy of cells bossing around other cells. Every cell has autonomy. Right? Every cell has a boundary within which it controls itself. It self-manages, it self-organizes. There's no other cell that pokes in and structures the internals of a cell. It is its own boss, if you will, and yet it has to exist within a system, a broader system, that's highly structured, right? That aligns its effort. There's an organ there. The organ's job is not to micromanage the cells. It's to build on top of their autonomy to get to a larger function, right? The heart's job is not to boss around the muscle cells and nerve cells and blood cells. It's to build on top of them, to build a bigger function, a higher order function that integrates them into a larger whole, which itself is just a part of a cardiovascular system, which integrates those individual parts into a larger whole. This is life's way of organizing. This is how nature scales systems to deal with complexity in a way that is adaptable. So how do we organize companies this way? It's not about throwing out structure. It's not about having no structure. That's one of the myths. Holacracy doesn't use management hierarchy, but that doesn't mean it doesn't use structure. They have management without managers. They invite everyone on a team to be involved in the work that we typically think of as the management of the team. Holacracy is a role-based framework. That means we break down work into little roles. This is a role I'm filling right now, our Holacracy spokesperson role. Right? Every role has a purpose. Holacracy is a purpose-driven system. I think for us humans to really feel our full potential and thrive in organizations, it's not enough to know what we do. We need to know why. We need to have our creativity unleashed. Right? And to do that, we need to know the purpose we're trying to serve. So Holacracy is a purpose-driven system. The company has a purpose that breaks down. Every team has a purpose, and every role has a purpose. And my role, in addition to having a purpose, has some expectations or accountabilities on it. This tells others what they can expect of me, and it tells me what I get to lead in my role. And the fundamental empowering approach Holacracy takes with this clarity is to say, when I have a role, I have the authority, the freedom to make any decision or take any action anywhere in the company, as long as there's no rule against it. And it doesn't matter whether I'm the founder or the newest hire. I have the authority to lead. I'm the CEO of my roles. Holacracy's goal is clarity. Who makes which decisions? What roles are there? What purposes do they serve? What expectations are on them? And then free people to lead their roles, as long as there's no rule against it. It's not to say there's no boundaries. We need boundaries. We need to know what we can't do so that we know what we can do. If you don't know your boundaries, you don't know your freedom. Right? So we need as much focus on clarifying the limits, the purposes, and the freedoms. But even that isn't enough. You cannot clarify all of this up front. Empowerment requires a process to evolve the boundaries. Right? If you want really deep empowerment, you want to free people to lead. You can't try to get all those roles right up front. You won't be able to do it. You'll end up with a traditional job description. And let's be honest, when was the last time you looked something up in your job description? We need to start with the simplest, lightest weight, most empty structure we can imagine. A skeleton. And then we need to build out the muscle on that skeleton as we learn together what we really need to expect from each other, and what boundaries we really need to honor. This is my company's org chart. We don't have a management hierarchy, so there's no typical top-down org chart. These are, think of it organically. Every green and blue dot there is a role, like a cell of an organization, and they're grouped into organs, the circles here. Right? The organs group them, it related functions grouped together. And every one of those circles is having a regular governance process. Every one of them is having this regular meeting where anyone filling a role in the team can propose a change to the structure of the team. And through this way, we have this organic living process where roles are evolving as we learn together. The Constitution of Holacracy is an open source document used by thousands of companies now, really doing business management, so we can all lead, so we can all be powerful together. And that, I think, is what ultimately is going to change our world.